In the world of entertainment, few stories have captured hearts quite like that of Freen Sarocha and Becky Armstrong. What began as a simple on-screen partnership in a small Thai drama quickly became a global movement, one that would redefine representation, challenge stereotypes, and elevate Thailand's girls' love industry to unprecedented heights. But how did two young actresses, each with different paths, come together to create something so powerful that fans across the world began calling them the global icons of Thai GL? Let's take a deep look into the journey of Freen and Becky, the duo who didn't just play their roles, but lived them. It all began with a series called Gap, the series. At first, not many people knew what to expect. The series was produced by Idol Factory, a studio known for pushing boundaries in Thailand's entertainment scene. But what happened next was something no one saw coming. When the first few episodes aired, fans immediately noticed something special. The chemistry between Freen and Becky wasn't just good acting. It was magnetic. Every glance, every line, every shared laugh felt genuine. Viewers began to feel like they weren't just watching characters named Sam and Mon. They were witnessing a real emotional connection unfold right in front of them. Social media went wild. Within weeks, hashtags like #FreenBecky and #Gap the series were trending not just in Thailand, but across the world, from the Philippines to Latin America, from the United States to the Middle East. The international audience that had once looked to Korean dramas for love stories began turning their eyes to Thailand. Freen and Becky were suddenly more than co-stars. They became symbols of something bigger: representation, authenticity, and courage. As the series progressed, fans saw how both women carried their roles with deep emotional conviction. Freen portrayed Sam, a confident and independent woman struggling between love and expectations. Becky brought warmth and innocence to Mon, the bright-eyed intern who challenged Sam's walls. The chemistry was undeniable. And off-screen, it was no different. Fans saw how close the two became, sharing inside jokes, subtle glances, and heartfelt gestures that only fueled the belief that FreenBecky wasn't just fiction. Soon, the fandom grew beyond expectations. They called themselves Freen Nation. Fan projects appeared in every corner of the world: LED billboards in New York Times Square, fan meetings sold out in minutes, and messages of support written in countless languages. But behind all that fame, there were challenges too. The sudden explosion of popularity came with immense pressure. Both actresses had to navigate their new global identity while maintaining their individual lives and careers. There were moments of exhaustion, rumors, and even criticism from people who didn't understand the bond they shared. But through it all, Freen and Becky never broke their composure. They continued showing respect, professionalism, and unity, always acknowledging each other as partners in success. Their rise didn't stop at Gap, the series. Soon, international brands took notice. They began gracing magazine covers, attending major events, and even becoming ambassadors for global campaigns. From appearing in Elle and Harper's Bazaar to being invited to walk red carpets at international award shows, their impact transcended the GL community. It entered mainstream entertainment. And yet, they remained grounded. One of the most remarkable moments came during their fan meetings. Fans who had traveled thousands of miles shared emotional testimonies, saying how Freen and Becky's portrayal helped them come to terms with their identity or find courage to love openly. Freen once responded tearfully, saying, "If our story helped even one person feel accepted, then every step of this journey has been worth it." Becky echoed those words with a smile that seemed to hold both pride and gratitude. She said, "We started as actors, but it's our fans who turned this story into something real." Their words resonated deeply. Because what Freen and Becky had built was more than fame. It was community, belonging, and representation for countless voices that had long been silent. After the end of Gap, everyone wondered, what's next? Would they continue together, or would they part ways to explore solo projects? In early 2025, news broke that both Freen and Becky had officially ended their contracts with Idol Factory, sparking shock and confusion among fans. Many feared it was the end of FreenBecky. But to everyone's surprise, both stars reassured fans that their duo brand FreenBecky would remain alive, independent, and stronger than ever. Their bond wasn't bound by contracts. It was a friendship, a professional alliance, and a shared understanding that transcended the business of showbiz. Since then, they've continued to appear together, attending fan meetings, endorsing products, and even hinting at future collaborations. Reports say that while they're exploring individual careers in film, fashion, and international projects, they've also been quietly developing joint ventures under the FreenBecky brand. In interviews, Freen has described Becky as her partner in growth, while Becky calls Freen her greatest teacher. Their words, though simple, carry a deep truth. Their story isn't just about fame. It's about two women who learned to navigate the pressures of an industry while protecting what made them special, their sincerity. And that's what continues to draw people in. Even now, years after their debut, Freen and Becky's fanbase remains one of the most passionate in the world. Their concerts sell out across Asia. Their joint appearances crash streaming platforms. And every time they share a simple moment, whether it's a smile or a supportive message, the internet lights up with joy. Because for fans, Freen and Becky aren't just actresses. They're proof that authenticity still wins hearts. They're a reminder that love stories, whether on screen or in real life, have the power to unite people from every walk of life. Their journey is far from over. With new brand deals, acting projects, and whispers of a film collaboration, 2025 is shaping up to be another defining year for the FreenBecky legacy. The world is watching, not just for what they do next, but for what they continue to represent. Hope, unity, and the power of connection. And that's how two young women who started in a small Thai GL drama became global icons, beloved, respected, and forever remembered as the duo who changed the landscape of love stories for good. As the dust settled after the announcement of their independence, Freen and Becky stood at a crossroads that would define their careers. The entertainment industry, curious yet skeptical, wondered if the magic of FreenBecky could truly survive outside the protective walls of Idol Factory. But the duo had already made up their minds. They weren't walking away from what made them special, they were walking toward a new kind of freedom. Their decision to go independent wasn't just a business move, it was a declaration of growth. For years, both women had poured their energy into a project that became bigger than anyone anticipated. They had learned the weight of fame, the joy of fandom, and the struggles that came with expectations. But now, it was time to evolve, to take control of their art, their image, and their voices. Not long after their announcement, Freen and Becky surprised everyone by appearing together at a private fan event in Bangkok. It wasn't a grand press conference or a flashy production. It was intimate, heartfelt, and genuine. Freen stepped onto the stage first, holding a microphone in her trembling hands. Her eyes glistened under the warm lights as she began to speak. She said softly, "We didn't come this far just to stop. We came this far to continue, but in our own way." Then Becky joined her on stage, linking their hands in a gesture that sent fans screaming in joy. With her usual calm smile, Becky added, "This is a new beginning, not an ending. We'll still be here, together." The crowd erupted in tears and applause. In that moment, every doubt disappeared. Their partnership wasn't ending, it was evolving. Soon, photos from that night went viral. Fans flooded social media with messages like, "Our girls are back stronger than ever," and "Freen Becky forever means forever." And just like that, their new chapter began. Within months, rumors started circulating that Freen and Becky were in talks for an international collaboration, a special miniseries co-produced by a Thai and Korean studio. Insiders claimed the show would be a fusion of romance and mystery, shot across multiple countries. While nothing was officially confirmed, the thought of a global Freen Becky project reignited fan excitement across Asia and beyond. But behind the glamorous headlines, life wasn't all easy. Going independent meant starting from scratch, managing their own schedules, building new teams, and re-establishing connections that once came through the studio system. Freen, known for her leadership, took on a more active role in brand negotiations and creative planning. Becky, on the other hand, focused on artistic direction, ensuring that every project they took reflected authenticity and purpose. Their work dynamic was built on balance. Freen's confidence anchored Becky's creativity, and Becky's warmth softened Freen's intensity. Together, they made decisions not as idols but as equals. And slowly, the entertainment world began to take notice again. By mid-2025, Freen and Becky were invited to major international events, including fan conventions in Japan and the Philippines, where their appearances drew thousands of attendees. Everywhere they went, they were greeted like royalty. But even in their growing fame, they stayed grounded. During interviews, they often emphasized gratitude. Becky once said, "The reason we can still smile on stage is because of the people who believed in us when it was hard." And Freen added, "Every fan message, every show of support, it's what keeps us going." Their sincerity set them apart. Unlike many celebrity pairs who faded after their breakout roles, Freen and Becky stayed relevant because they never stopped being real. Then came the moment that truly cemented their legacy. In late 2025, a global streaming platform released a surprise short film titled Until Tomorrow, starring none other than Freen and Becky. It wasn't heavily promoted, but within hours of its release, it exploded across the internet. The film told the story of two women separated by fate and reunited through courage and love, a narrative that mirrored Freen and Becky's own journey in many ways. Fans couldn't help but draw parallels. Some even called it their farewell letter, while others insisted it was a symbol of their eternal bond. Regardless of interpretation, one thing was certain: Until Tomorrow became a global hit. It trended across social media, breaking viewership records for short films on the platform. Critics praised it for its emotional storytelling, while fans celebrated the reunion of their favorite duo in a way that felt deeply personal. At the film's premiere, both actresses were emotional. Freen was seen wiping away tears as she thanked the audience, saying, "No matter where life takes us, we'll always have this connection." Becky nodded beside her, her voice trembling as she added, "We didn't act this, it came from our hearts." The cameras caught the two embracing tightly, a hug that said everything their words couldn't. That moment became the defining image of their friendship, a reminder that what they built went far beyond screen roles and fan meetings. It was something rare: genuine trust, mutual respect, and love without conditions. After that, Freen and Becky continued to pursue individual dreams. Freen began exploring fashion design and international modeling, while Becky turned her attention to music and language studies, preparing for potential English-speaking roles. Yet, every time they appeared separately, fans noticed one thing: they never failed to mention each other. Whether it was Becky talking about Freen's work ethic or Freen praising Becky's talent, their names were always linked. Even now, the FreenBecky brand remains active, symbolizing unity, resilience, and the power of representation. Their legacy continues to inspire young creators, fans, and actors across Asia who dream of breaking boundaries the way these two did. And perhaps that's the most beautiful part of their journey. It was never about fame or fortune. It was about creating something honest in a world that often forgets how real emotions can be. Freen and Becky reminded the world that love, whether romantic, platonic, or creative, can change everything. They stood together when it mattered most. They broke barriers others were afraid to challenge. And they did it all while staying true to who they are. Theirs isn't just a story of success. It's a story of courage, authenticity, and connection, a story that continues to unfold one heartfelt moment at a time. Because even as the cameras fade and the lights dim, one truth remains unshaken: Freen and Becky didn't just make history. They became history.